Alright, I'm doing a public speech today for my Advanced Expository Writing 366 class at Nicholls State University, which is due in an hour. So do not do your assignments late. My public speech is connected to the Project Going Home based on the 1887 Thibodeau Massacre, which you may or may not be acquainted with, which is also why I'm outside doing a public speech. The Thibodeau Massacre was an event due to sugarcane workers wanting simply $1 a day for their work and $1.25 if they were to work through the night. What they're originally getting paid simply was not enough to them, as Rachel Claus from the Gordy Gorchie wrote. 60 black sugarcane workers died through a 2-hour-long shootout in which their bodies were dumped in unmarked graves as the whites cheered and hurrahed for the victorious victory over the blacks. All of this has been lost to history, as Scorpino wrote in his scholarly article, Thibodeau Massacre, Racial Violence in the 1887 Sugarcane Labor Strike, De Sanctis John. They were paid 91 cents a day by today's standards. Could you imagine working 91 cents a day? You could barely afford the cheapest option in a fast food restaurant, and that does not account if taxes are taken out of your wages. Then, if the taxes are taken out, you would barely be able to afford the cheapest option after 3 days of work, working 8 hours a day. Fun fact, instead of cash, workers were instead paid in script. It was essentially an IOU that the workers would turn into plantations owners to buy their items. They were permitted from getting local stores that the whites would go to and could only buy from the plantations. This happened 9 years after slavery was abolished in America, yet they were still not allowed the same benefits that white Americans had. The Paris's former legislator, Camp Hees, led a march to Houma to Southdown Plantation in Terrebonne, and when he faced with a band of white opposition that did not support the march, they soon turned tail and retreated. The governor ordered multiple groups to confront the people that were striking. One group toted a .45 caliber Gatling gun, which is a hand-cranked machine gun, around 2 parishes before parking it in front of the Thibodeau courthouse. An army cannon was set up in front of the jail. The killings soon started after one another in rotation in relation to the previous killings. Men were now taken out of their homes despite being strikers or not. One strike leader was taken from his hiding, taken to the town center, then told to run as he was shot into pieces by a firing squad. After everything settled, the strikers successfully and happily went back to working for the railroad, stopping the union and happening in the South until. As quoted from the SmithsonianMag.com, Southern black farmers will not attempt to unionize again until the 1930s, when the Southern Tenant Farmers Union attracted both sides, white and African American members. But it was too met with a violent racist backlash. The struggle for Southern unions continued into the Civil Rights era. On the night before he was assassinated in Memphis, Martin Luther King Jr. gave a speech supporting striker sanitation workers. He urged his audience to give ourselves to this struggle until the end. You may not be on strike, but either we go up together or we go down together. Before ever doing any research on this topic, I never would have thought to hear anything like this coming from out of Thibodeau. I did not think I live on ground such as this is what the articles were talking about. It shines a new light on a topic to which I further wish to dive into.